Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smart Women Read Romance, a book review podcast where we fangirl over all things romance. I'm Juliette.
And I'm Jessen.
Today we'll be reviewing The Opposite of You, the first book in Opposites Attract series by Rachel Higginson. But before we dive in, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe on the podcast on your preferred podcast platform, and please rate and review us. It really, really helps other people find us and jump on in with us. Jessen and I love getting feedback from our listeners, so follow us on our social media pages at SWReadRom. If you're looking for some extras, join our Patreon for access to exclusive giveaways, a look behind the scenes of our episodes, and exclusive content including monthly videos featuring Q&As and some fun games. We also have a special shout out to our new patron, Heidi. Hey girl, thank you.
Hey.
We're super thankful for all of our patrons for supporting the podcast. Alrighty, guys. So before we jump in, let's talk about what's going on.
Game of Thrones.
Girl.
First of all, okay, so this is the first episode in our April episode. So anyway, the first
Game of Thrones, that's it.
I'm like, I know that we're going to go into like a lot more detail probably this Friday with our Game of Thrones minisode, but I just have to say that the first trailer, they did wait a really long time to release that trailer. And I'm glad, and I honestly hope that there's not another trailer. Like I hope it's the only trailer that they release. Yeah. I don't need more images to analyze because Jason and Mal from Binge Mode, they did an hour-long analysis of a minute and 30 second trailer.
I listened to it too. It's awesome.
Amazing. It is amazing.
It's awesome.
But then again, I also don't want to set my expectations so high because like we're going so deep into like book lore and all kind of stuff and to like try to figure out clues in these fleeting images. And I'm just like, and if none of this stuff happens, I'm going to be so disappointed.
Like, why are we, we're like, because we're so desperate. We want it so bad.
We are.
I know Kevin and I just finished our rewatch and we went from episode 1, season 1, all the way to, season 7.
Oh yeah, I did like a straight up watch through, like
straight watch through from in order.
Yeah, I jump around right now.
Yeah, we'd watch a couple a night, and when we finished, Kevin's just like, "I'm just ready. Like I'm ready.
Yeah,
like
tomorrow
let's go.
we can play."
Can we just get on with this show?
I have to say, I was a little bit disappointed with the announcement of the run times for the episodes, just because I think everybody was expecting, and I don't know if it was ever true, but I think that there were rumors for the past 2 years where it's been on hiatus that each episode was going to be movie feature length.
Right. So we're expecting like an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Exactly. And so I don't think anybody did anything to dispel those rumors, which I feel like if it wasn't true, they should have come out and been like, hey, we never said that. But they didn't. They didn't say that. Yeah. And so now the run times for the first couple episodes are like 50, not even an hour long. Yeah. They're 50 something minutes long. So I think it's a little bit disappointing whenever, especially as book readers, I know so many prophecies that still have not been fulfilled, so many characters that have never been introduced. Think that
some things are just never not going to happen.
Probably, but I'm just like, I don't know how they're going to wrap it up. I really don't. I'm really scared about it.
But I've also been anticipating the prequel series that they're making. Like I keep thinking, like,
I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to be. I've already decided they cannot recapture this magic.
No, I don't think so either.
Believe it. I just don't.
Everyone's going to be comparing it to Game of Thrones. You know,
I mean, and I hope I'm proven wrong. I honestly do. I mean, I'm not saying it can't happen. I haven't been in love with a show like this. I don't know if ever. Lord of the Rings. When the first Lord of the Rings movies came out, I was blown away. Right. Totally in love. But anyway.
Yeah, same. So that's basically all of what my life has been revolving around right now. And April is Game of Thrones month, and I'm just going to, that's all that's going to be on my mind, honestly. So I'm sorry.
Oh, man. I know.
I promise this will be the last chit-chat about Game of Thrones until it ends, okay?
We promise.
Okay, we save everything else for the mini-sode. I promise, okay? No more. So I guess we can get into this episode.
Let's get into it, guys. The Opposite of You. I'm so excited about this. I can't even. So, all right. So let me just get started. The story is told through our heroine Vera's point of view. I really enjoy single POVs like this one because the hero's motivations are a little more mysterious. And so we don't know what he's thinking. We have to just read into what she's reading into. Right. I love it. We have rivalry, banter, and delicious food, which I thought was phenomenal. I really loved it.
I was so hungry while reading this.
Please. I know. I'm like, what, popcorn? That is not going to do it after reading.
No, not reading that description of that. Hell no.
I know. This is an enemies to lovers trope, which is my favorite and one of Jessen's favorites.
Mine too, yeah.
And it revolves around two competing chefs in the Durham, North Carolina area. Higginson definitely knows how to tease her readers with sexually charged scenes. Not going to lie. I would say that there is more focus on the emotional development of our characters' relationship than the physical aspect, but that doesn't mean that it's not a very hot read.
Oh, yeah. It is very, very, very hot. That sexual tension is so good. So I discovered this book probably right around the time that I caved and signed up for KU. I think that this was one of the first ones that I kind of stumbled upon. I was like going deep into, I'm like, what is available in KU? Yeah. So I got this one, and it's the best decision ever. I think I was like,
I'm so happy.
I was setting the bar high for all of my KU books. And I was like, wow. I'm like, I'm so happy that I discovered this. Can you guess what drew me in? Because it wasn't the synopsis that drew me in.
know. It's the cover with the guy in the beard.
Yes, it is. I know you. I'm a sucker for the beard. I was like, who is this
hottie? He's a chef.
Oh,
and I love watching chef shows. Like we used to watch them all the time.
Too. So besides the beard, I'm really obsessed with the Netflix series Chef's Table. Have you watched Chef's Table?
I've not watched that one. We used to watch Iron Chef and Top Chef all the time.
Well, Chef's Table is like, it's like, if you haven't seen it, you're definitely missing out. And the cinematography, which I know that this is such a weird thing to say about like a show about cooking, the cinematography alone is like to die for. And the food is insane.
I'm telling you.
Beautiful. They had the most gorgeous shots. It's like chefs from all around the world. And like, there's definitely a couple chefs in that series that come to mind whenever I think about Killian Quinn. There's like, first of all, for looks department, there's like a Russian guy in season 3, Vladimir. And he reminds me, I'm like, that's what Killian looks like. And then his attitude.
Name Vladimir. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
We like a good Russian guy. But, and then his attitude in part reminds me of Dan Barber, which was one of the OG people in Chef's Table. So you really have to go watch that. I just love it. So
don't even think about it. I'm going to start watching it this week.
It's beautiful.
Okay. Another thing that really drew me into this one, which I'm still shocked that I didn't put Vera on my girl crush. I don't even know what I was thinking.
I think I did her for my honorable mentions.
You did, but
I put her in there.
I drew a blank because she should have been in my top 5. But I personally identify with Vera with an ex from college, from my past.
Right.
And so this book spoke to me on insane personal levels.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, but we'll talk more about that as we get into it.
In the spoiler section, we'll share a couple more insights with that. But The Opposite of You is one of my go-to reread books, especially whenever I'm in a book slump. I don't know why, I just always gravitate toward this book because it's so fun. The banter is great between our MCs, and I think that that's one of the main attractions for me is their banter together. It's just so funny, but also so real and raw, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah. So I'm going to say something really quickly that about Rachel Higginson. She, for me, hits like the sweet spot of romance, and please do not take that dirty.
She hits the sweet spot.
I do have a sweet spot. But it is a harmony of all the things that I love. It's got the banter, the snarky banter. It's got the amazing internal monologue going on, which is like funny and also emotional. And then we have angst, but it's not like over the top that's going to bring me down. You know what I mean? And then, of course, it just has an amazing happily ever after, of course.
Of course. So, necessary. Okay. How about you tell us a little bit about our main characters?
Yeah, let's talk about our characters. So our main girl, Vera, is moved back home after a year of cooking her way through Europe to rediscover herself. She's put all of her financial eggs in one basket and started a food truck across from the widely popular Michelin star restaurant Lilou. And the head chef is not happy about this.
No, he is not.
And I love her food truck's name is Foodie.
Foodie, it's so cute.
It's adorable. And then we have Killian Quinn. He is a James Beard awarded chef and an infamous dictator in the kitchen. Working under his guidance is a highly sought after position, and anything less than perfect is unacceptable. It's no wonder that he takes offense to a brightly painted food truck parked across from his high-class restaurant. Red hot sparks fly immediately between the two chefs who seem like they won't ever get along. Looks
sweet
can be
summer
deceiving.
children. You sweet
summer children.
Oh, goodness.
All right, guys. So that is all we're going to say in our non-spoilery stuff. So if you've not read this, you really have got to just stop everything. Like, put everything aside and go read it.
She's saying your priorities are whacked. And why have you not read this?
I'm not trying to insult you, but please go read it. It's so good. You won't be disappointed. And so now we're going to move into our spoiler section.
Spoiler section.
Okay, now we're into the spoiler section, guys. So let's start with our showdown, Jessen.
Woo-hoo. I go first.
Yes, you go first. I'm curious to see.
Okay, so the showdown scene, which I was kind of surprised at myself for picking this scene. I was like, really? This is one? But it's the one that I always think about. I don't know. I just really like it. And there's so many to pick from. But this one, okay, so my favorite scene is when Vera and Molly score reservations to Lilou.
Oh,
and
yes.
they're really trying to be incognito about it. They're
so funny.
They're like, shh, like, make sure we don't draw attention to herself. And like the waiter comes and he's like bragging on Killian, and Vera's like muttering under her breath. Yeah. Like, of course he does. Or what, yeah. And
yeah,
so
whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And the waiter just like, what?
The waiter's like scared, have I offended you?
Doesn't know. Yeah, exactly. Like, can I get you anything? Like, did you want his old menu? Like, I can
get
see,
that for
I can
you,
see
maybe?
what we can do because he changed his menu.
Yeah.
Which, okay, if you've ever been, which I've never been, but I just know this because I watch Chef's Table. So I'm an expert, obviously.
Yes.
But like 5-star restaurants and like really expensive restaurants, they have like seasonal menus, spring menus, because they usually do like farm to table. It's whatever's, in season.
And inspired.
Exactly. Well, he changed it in the middle of the season, and Vera's like, why? And he was like, he was just inspired, like the waiter. And so this is great because whenever they start getting their plates out, she's like poking at it and she's like, it's delicious. Molly just like doesn't care about any specifications with the food.
Molly's
she's just like, it's delicious. And Vera's like, this looks familiar. And like, oh, son of a bitch, he stole my sauce.
Yeah, her sauce.
And I love it. And then Wyatt spots them. He comes out and
all pointing at them like, no, we've been spotted. They're like trying to hide.
I love that. It's just so fun. And then he's like, Wyatt's like, he'll be out in a minute. And whenever Killian does come out, he goes straight to Vera.
Yes.
And he like crouches down by her. And he had sent every single item on the menu to their table.
He's like the waiter took the menus away.
The waiter never came and asked for their order. He just started sending food in there. Because I think that this is why I liked it so much, is because Killian, I don't want to say he wanted to impress Vera, but I do want to say that he really respects her opinion, and he really wanted to be like, this is what I can do.
I think he's wooing her with his skills.
Like, I know that you'll appreciate this, but I think
and he wanted to know her opinion. Like, he really hoped that she would. And I think
that it's kind of a little bit of a vulnerable moment for him as well too, because it's also, this is my crush. You know, I want her to think well of me, and I like whenever he asks, like, so what did you think? And in her head, she's thinking, it's fucking perfect. This is ridiculous.
And she's like,
you. And then she's
might
like,
be too much salt.
Yeah,
might be too much salt.
You might need a little bit more salt or something.
Yeah, it was one of those.
I love it. It was perfect, and he was like shocked that she said it. But of course, this is their running joke. So I just liked it because it's like
super playful,
all in at this point.
Oh
and she's still not understanding this game that they're playing quite yet. And it's also kind of like, the phrase imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Yeah.
And it's like he got inspired by
her
these
meatballs.
creative ideas that she's coming up with. Like, this awarded chef is like, you're amazing.
She has inspired him.
Right. It's so I think that Vera doesn't think very highly of herself at the moment, but he thinks the world of her and her opinion and her creativity. And I think that that's why I like that scene so much. And it's fun.
That scene is amazing, and that is an awesome scene. So I might vote for you for that. But my scene follows that one. It's the next day or a couple of days later when he sees her for the first time, when she has posted a review on Yelp.
Oh my God, I love this scene so much.
She's in the trailer and she's prepping for Foodie. And he comes barreling in like a freaking lion, furious, because he's like, you're the one who did this review. It just completely tears down everything he said, and it's signed by Nana Nana Boo Boo.
Nana Nana Boo Boo, guys. I mean,
she goes, and so she's being playful.
Playing
like,
dumb.
I was like, I don't know. I don't know who this Nana Nana Boo Boo person is. He goes, it's you. It is you. And like he keeps
I like
accusing
how he
her.
also says, like, is this your idea of a joke? And in her head, she's like, Well, yeah.
It's hilarious. Didn't you get it? But then she's playing it off like he's really, really mad.
Yeah.
And then he, so finally he just like kind of like crowds her in next to the counter. I love it when he's like all crowding her in and he's like, take it back, take it off, like immediately. So she finally,
he's using his body to influence her.
So she turns around and she picks up her phone and he's crowding her in like from behind while she is finally deleting. She's like, fine, it's gone now. Okay. And that's when he sort of like lets down some of the anger and she sees he's like, I really, really hate bad reviews. He gets a little vulnerable and then they have their first like,
their first kiss.
Yeah, their first kiss. And it's just
beautiful.
It is a beautiful, beautiful kiss. And the moment was so charged with their chemistry that I melted all over. I was like,
it's
goo.
Playful. It's it's everything I wanted for their first kiss to be. Yeah. It's just perfect.
It's another reason why it's like Rachel Higginson's like amazing. This is like
she balances stuff very well. It's amazing. Yeah. Okay, I love your showdown scene too, and I will probably vote for you. Honestly,
okay, I'll vote for
think
you.
That you
vote
did
for
have
me.
the better scene for this one. To tell you the truth.
Well, thanks for setting mine up.
If she doesn't win this one, I might think that y'all are being biased now.
Yeah, please, people,
vote for what scene's better.
Yeah, not just Jessen.
I know I'm amazing, but you can vote for Juliette.
Are you saying she's more popular? Like, what's going on?
All right, guys, let's get into this breakdown.
All right, into the breakdown, guys. So Vera and Molly is Vera's best friend in the very beginning. Okay, so in the opening shot, like it's a movie. And it feels like a movie, though. I could totally see it.
It plays out like a movie because the description is just so beautiful.
So good. So Vera and Molly are painting Foodie the food truck in Van's parking lot. That's where we open. The food truck is, quote, Vera's last-ditch efforts to salvage the remnants of her career that had gone terribly wrong in the last few years. And we don't get to know what that terribly wrong is. It's sort of like seeded in gently over, the first part of the book. She doesn't even think about giving up her dream of owning her own kitchen, even if cooking out of a food truck is all she can do. I like this quote. This truck, as beautiful and inspiring as she was, didn't represent the person I thought I would become. She was the culmination of everything that I'd let happen to me. She was dreams abandoned and futures lost, and she was all I had left. And later on, she even says, it was my plan B.
Exactly.
And so, and we don't know why. Like, we're like, why did she give everything up? I mean, she was trained in one of the top culinary schools.
Yeah, I like how we start almost like in the middle of her story.
Yes.
And Higginson doesn't feel the need to give us the background just yet. All you know is that this is where she wanted to be, but this is where she is.
This is where she's at, and she's fighting for it.
Yes.
She's fighting for it.
She's like, pedal to the metal. This is what I have to work with, and this is it.
Yeah. And you can tell she has really supportive people around here. Everyone is pitching in to get Vera back on her feet. Molly, her best friend, is a graphic designer, so she's painting the food truck for free.
Yeah. She did advertisements for her as well. Yeah. She like Facebook helped her do all that.
Her
Facebook
design,
business page.
Yeah, the logo and all of that. And then Van, her brother, has the bike shop right across from Lilou. And he's allowing her to use his parking lot for this space and also his electricity hookup.
Right, exactly. So she doesn't have to pay utilities or anything.
And stuff like that. Right. So Vera has some demons in her past. We know that. And she went on a year-long sort of sabbatical to Europe, cooking in whatever kitchen she could get a job in. She talks about how they weren't like top chef kitchens. They were just anywhere,
Yeah, anywhere that had an opening.
Yeah, anywhere. She slept in hostels. I mean, she kind of just like, tramped across Europe, cooking in all these cool places, learning different things. She's come back, though, because her dad is sick and he has bladder cancer, which we don't find out right now, but it's sort of, given to us later. He even loaned her money out of his 401k. He cashed in his 401k because he's like, well, I can't take it with me where I'm going. So
I really I know that we're not going to go into huge detail because we have so much else to talk about, but I do like their unconventional relationship between the dad just because of his background and stuff like that. Like how they grew up.
Yeah, I agree. And it's a beautiful daughter-daddy relationship.
It really is. I like it.
Her brother's business just so happens to be across from the world-renowned Lilou, as we said, owned by Ezra Baptiste, with a kitchen run by award-winning chef Killian Quinn. Rumor has it that he's an ass in the kitchen, but he's someone who Vera once aspired to be. So she's read all about him in all the big magazines and knows this guy is
that was once like,
shit.
I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna get where he's at one day.
One day, right?
So Vera's self-esteem is a little low at the moment, which is understandable after all that she went through with her ex. And like you said, I love how Rachel Higginson reveals their history bit by bit.
I do too.
Layer by layer, we discover that Vera was in a relationship with another chef named Derek Hanover. And it quickly grew toxic with Derek cutting her off from her friends and family and making Vera believe that his career was more important than hers, all the while disguising it as like saving her from taking on more than she could handle and like the disappointment.
Yeah, let me guide you in the best
you're not
way.
Ready for that, you know? So yeah, and we get this throughout the course of the book, but I'm just getting it out there right now. But also, so now this is like the part where we had kind of mentioned in the spoiler-free section, but we're very much in Vera's head listening to how Derek manipulated her and turned things around. And I know that you had a similar experience in high school, college, whatever. And did that make you identify with her more? Like, did you find that her thoughts were like kind of true to your like kind of experience of like being with somebody who is that manipulative?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was in college. And absolutely. In that sort of possessive way that these kind of men have about themselves and cutting them off from family. When she started talking about this, like hadn't seen her family in a long time because of him, I was like, oh fuck. You know, like I immediately was like, Vera, I know this. Like I felt this before. And so there were so many moments in the story when she was, just talking about how she felt about herself and everything and having to get herself back. It hit home so deeply, you know.
I also like, because we recently read Long Shot, which also deals with a person who experienced abuse by their significant other. But I feel like in this way, Higginson, I feel like she got her point across. We really understood how much it affected Vera. Like through their entire book, it kind of peppers it like throughout, like her self-esteem issues,
her self-confidence issues.
Right, exactly. But it doesn't like overshadow the rest of the story. It does not tamp down the fun parts of the story.
That's what when I was talking to you about like the sweet spot of harmony and balance, that's what I really felt. Like she had this deep dark secret.
Yeah, traumatic experience that she went through.
But it didn't define the whole story.
No, it didn't. And I really do appreciate that. So yeah, I mean, it does get dark later. Verbal abuse became like physical abuse, but Vera finally had enough. And whenever he wanted her to quit altogether, like being a chef. And I think it's very telling about how much of Vera's identity is tied up in cooking, that was kind of the last straw for her. You know, it was like, oh, he's telling me that I should just give it all up. And she's like, wait, what the fuck am I doing? This was my whole purpose in life. Like, this is what I've worked for, strived for. And you're not taking that away from me.
That was when it was like,
and she was like,
the line in the sand was drawn, you know?
Yeah, she was like, I'm leaving in the middle of the night, not telling him, bye-bye. Yeah.
So now, I did like how she kind of talked about that later, even that she knew it was sort of cowardly to just leave and not say anything, but she felt like that was the only way.
I think it was the best way for her to do it. I agree. Honestly. I don't see any other way for her to leave and, get her distance that she needed.
Persistent, possessive man. Yeah. Absolutely.
No, scary. Definitely scary. I'd never want to be in that position. But her love of cooking came about because her dad worked 2 jobs because her mom died. And so he was a single parent. And she and Van had to kind of fend for themselves. And she really was craving like flavorful food that didn't come from a box. And which I think this is so cool. We don't have this, but like Vera discovered her love of cooking through home ec as well. And I was like, I wish that we had home ec so much.
Have that?
But we didn't have that. And I'm like, I'm so jealous of Vera. I love cooking, by the way, too.
Yeah, me too.
But we also get our first glimpse of Killian as he zooms in on his motorcycle, which I'm already like, I love you.
A crotch rocket too, not a Harley. He's like on a fast bike.
Yeah, he has a need for speed. But he takes one good hard look at Foodie, like sizing her up and down, like what the fuck
like
is this
tearing
monstrosity?
It apart with his eyes.
Yeah, and then disappears inside Lilou. And Vera is still struggling with her menu and the type of food that she wants to serve her late night customers, because that's her target audience.
Right.
Like Lilou does the dinner crowd. she is targeting the people who are
late night clubbers and stuff.
After a night of partying, drinking, whatever, you're hungry at the end. Which I thought, I was like, man, what I wouldn't give to have a food truck after a night of drinking during my party days, because all we had after whenever I was first in college, we went to the Keg and there was a hot dog stand outside.
Oh my God.
Which of course after that it was just oh my God, a hot dog, it's so delicious.
Okay, no, so I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fine.
At LSU, we had this one spot, it was called Louie's Cafe, and they stayed open late for all of us after the bars closed. And they had the most amazing homemade hash browns. They were spiced with jalapeno and everything, and these giant cheeseburgers.
Yummy.
I mean, it's not foodie, but
Vera's
But when she said you need that good greasy food to soak up the alcohol, I'm like, Louie's.
Yeah, so that's kind of her. That's kind of her. Her signature dishes are creative, but comfort food.
Yeah,
new. She has so many new ideas, but it's all based on comfort foods, classic comfort foods. But she's transforming them, which I thought that was
made me impressed
awesome.
with. Rachel Higginson, but
I know,
for knowing all this, you really did some research on food, or have a chef in the family or something.
I don't know, but I was definitely digging all of the dishes that Vera came up with. I'm delicious.
Definitely. So Vera started a business page on Facebook, of course, to advertise for her food truck, and gets a message from a James Q saying that the other restaurants are going to crush her and that she should just save herself the pain. It's just slapping her in the face, and she's like, oh, but instead of crushes her fragile self-confidence, it just raises her hackles, her spine stiffens, and she's like, oh no, he did not.
Yeah, she was like, who the hell is this rando telling me to give up already?
This dude, and it's so funny because the first thing she types, which she does not send, is just a scathing.
I thought that was so fun. I like how Rachel Higginson did this, how she typed in her initial gut reaction, how you really would react.
Asshole,
but then
whatever.
she's like, no, I'm trying to run a business. Let's tone it down.
So she comes back in and is super friendly, I hope you give foodie a try. You know?
I thought that was so fun.
Oh yeah, it was. And he's not likely.
No.
Total. It's so funny.
I hope we change your mind. And he's not likely. And she was like, oh, fuck no.
Yeah, dude, go
She's
away.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
Challenge fucking accepted.
Yeah. So she throws herself into the menu and finding the ingredients at a good price. She can't find a good farmer's market, which she's still in search for because she knows she really needs that to have that, good fresh taste. But at least she has a game plan. And she's bringing her equipment into the food truck when Killian approaches. He drives up and all of a sudden he's there as she's hauling her stuff.
She's has stacks and
stacks of stuff. It falls on her flip-flop. Her flip-flop gets caught. Her first meeting with him, it is
hot mess.
Yeah, her flip-flop falls off. She's like, I'm not going to face him with my flip-flop off.
Yeah.
It's she's sweating. Her curly hair is sticking to her face, everything. And he is a total ass.
He is such an asshole.
He is horrible. He's like, what are you doing? When Killian asks her name and says, I've never heard of you. She snaps back with, that doesn't surprise me. We've never met before.
I love her sassiness.
I do too. She is adorable. Vera's awesome. So yeah, her sassiness seems to surprise and intrigue Killian. She doesn't seem intimidated like he expects her to be.
Yeah, because he's coming on pretty strong.
Oh,
what the fuck are you doing in my neighborhood?
Yeah,
do you know where I work?
5-star chef.
Do you know who I am?
You know who I am. I am. That's mine. Lilou is mine. And who are you with your food truck? and your flip flops, looking all cute.
But I like that. It kind of had the opposite effect on Vera. She should, especially with her past experiences, she should maybe feel a little bit intimidated. She should kind of feel tucking her tail between her legs, but she doesn't.
And she even thinks, I was a doormat until now, until this moment, until Killian Quinn opened his big mouth and made me see red.
Yes.
It was awesome.
How he affects her in this way.
He brings out the fire in her.
There's a reason why they have this connection that they have only begun to explore.
This is the kind of true love connection I love.
This is the
where
instant.
Together they're better than they are apart.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Agree.
So Vera tells him that she's sorry that his fragile ego feels threatened by her, but that he better get used to some competition. Even though she knows that they won't be serving the same crowds at all. But y'all, this is the beginning of their angry foreplay, which is the most delicious thing ever.
It's the best foreplay. I have so much fun with all of their antagonistic interactions.
When I finished this chapter, I think I messaged you. I was like, Jessen, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like so in love with the story.
It was so good. So the food truck is doing pretty well with the late night crowd.
Sure is.
She even has to rope in her friend Molly and Van to take orders while she cooks because she can't do it both.
She can't keep up. She can't keep up with the line and the money and the cooking. There's so many people coming.
I don't think that she really expected them to like really, but I mean like drunk people and food. I mean,
yeah, hello,
sure
and
thing.
Like good food.
Sure thing. So our first introduction to Wyatt happens during this time. He is Killian's sous chef, and when unbeknownst to Vera, Lilou's staff comes eat at her food truck after after they get off. They're ready for some food.
Yeah, she sees she knows they work in kitchens because of what they're wearing.
But there's a lot of restaurants.
There's
in the
a lot
area.
of them. She's like she doesn't know where they're from.
They don't.
They could be
not
anywhere.
Lilou specific. They're just wearing generic,
that
kind
generic,
of like uniform, black and white kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So Wyatt is pretty much astonished that Vera isn't cooking greasy fast food, but deliciously balanced and unique dishes. And he even like says like, "This is good," and she's like, "Thank you."
I know, like backhanded compliment.
Like, okay, what was that? And he was like, "No, it's like really, really good."
No, this is like really good.
Yeah, and he even smiles at her and says he's gonna hate you even more now, and like leaves. And she's like, "Wait, what?" And she doesn't understand because she doesn't know that they're from Lilou.
Yeah,
I knew that.
So obviously
but
this to me. Okay, so we talked about the single POV. This is what we get from Wyatt. He's been bitching up a storm in the kitchen about the chick across the street with a foodie truck.
Vera.
Yes, I love it.
Agreed. So the next night when Lilou is still open, Wyatt comes back. It's like 10 o'clock at night and orders multiple orders. And Vera's not thinking anything of it at all. And then comes back later on. And he's like, he comes with a note and he's apologizing in advance. He's like, "I'm so sorry. I wouldn't have done it if I thought that he would have had notes for you."
With his puppy dog eyes.
And she's like, she knows now.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh shit." So basically in the note, he like picks apart her food bit by bit, telling her what she should have done differently and tells her to try harder. Poor Vera. So she's angry, but it also inspires her to change up her menu because though that she's really angry because she's like, "Oh my God, like this is ridiculous. My food was awesome."
Yeah.
She also says, "You know what? The foods that I did pick for my first night were safe."
Yes, they were very safe. It was not adventurous.
It wasn't adventurous. She was like, she didn't know if her customers would be willing to try some foods that just didn't look.
She was overthinking and second guessing herself so much.
Exactly. She's capable of a lot more, and it's almost like he knows it, and he challenged her to like, "No, dig deeper. I know you got more in you." And so so she decides that she's going to plan a new menu. But Killian stops by thinking that she's quit during the week because she hasn't been at the food truck since Saturday. And this is me. I'm like, he's been watching for her. And she has not been appearing since Saturday. Yeah. And he even says it. And he was like, I like that. He even thought that his note had scared her away. And he's like, I thought. And she was like, haha, you thought your little note scared me? No,
I don't
not
think
at all.
So.
And so it's like it definitely his vulnerable moment. And like he already feels a connection to Vera because he doesn't want this little playful antagonistic relationship to end before it even really begun.
Yes.
He's like worried. He like wants her to still stick around.
Yeah.
So she assures him that she is just getting started.
Yeah. Like just wait. Yeah. Just back off.
Hell no. I'm not leaving.
So it does become almost a game where Killian sends his employees to covertly bring him Vera's dish for the day, and he sends back his little critiques.
I love this.
Some of them
it's
on.
So fun.
He even says that to her at one point, telling her, "That's how we play this game, Delane. You give me something, I give you something." She blinks at him. "We're not playing a game. Are you sure?" he asked her. Like, so I love that. Oh, yeah.
This is definitely his way, his foreplay. This is his flirting. And Vera doesn't clue into it.
Like, she just thinks he's being an ass.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she respects his opinion. So she does listen to what he's saying.
He does his critique. Make her a better chef, too.
He does. So one of my favorite running jokes throughout the book is that Vera uses too much salt. He's always accusing. One time he's like,
"Do you hate salt? Then why do you abuse it like this?"
I know. Why are you? He's like, "Please stop with this." He's always antagonizing her about the salt. Like,
he sent her a ticket for $1 million.
For $1 million. A fine for $1 million.
For using too much salt. It's just, they're just so much
funny.
fun.
Yeah. I also really like the scene where he complains about her use of parsley. He's like, it's a garnish. Stop it. Stop it with the parsley. Just give it up.
Yeah.
And so she gives Wyatt, who comes back over, a big container of chopped parsley, like giant container of parsley, telling him to dump it on Killian and say, make it rain, motherfucker.
Of course, Wyatt doesn't do it, but he does tell Killian
this is what she wanted me to do, but I'm not going to do it because you're my boss and you'll kill me. But they both laugh at it.
So I'm like,
can you imagine Killian be like,
much.
oh my God, this girl, you know?
She's unlike anyone else. I love Vera so much.
I love her. Make it rain, motherfucker.
It was perfect. I'm picturing parsley raining.
I know. I laughed so hard out loud at that. I was like, oh my God, Vera. So obviously he is goading her on purpose and she's playing back, which I really like. But Vera doesn't understand it yet. She just thinks this is like she thinks it's a true hating game, you know? But Killian thinks Vera is really good and he's trying to help her in his asshole-ish way. It's the only way he knows, you know? And even Wyatt sometimes is like, you should see what he does to other people. Like, this is nice. So she's like, what?
Yeah, she's like, no.
So he even helps her. I love it when he first comes into her food truck, you know, and tries to help her fix the sauce for her lamb meatballs.
Because he picked it apart in a note. And then she's reworking the sauce.
It's the next night. It's like a Saturday night.
And he comes in and he's like, are you reworking the sauce? And she's like,
wait, no, I'm not doing anything. She blocks her whole body,
but he comes in anyway.
He just barrels in and starts taking, gets her knife, starts taking control of her kitchen. But there is some serious sexual tension during the scenes when they're close proximity in the food truck. Yeah, because
the food truck is just so tiny. It's like a galley kitchen that she can barely move around. And then they're brushing and she even lets herself lean back on him at one point. And
that was the scene. He goes, just taste it. And so she gets in front of him to taste it. And he's standing. He won't move. He won't move out of the way. So she lets her shoulders fall back to his chest.
Yeah.
And then when she realized what she was doing, she went to, because he had his hand on her hip, she went to go away and his hand tightens.
Yeah.
To keep her still.
He didn't want her to
it was
go.
so good. That was awesome.
I get so excited whenever I'm talking about this book.
Obviously, my words are stumbling over. It's so good. Sorry. So his new thing, though, is giving criticism and then telling her how to fix it. And she's like, his suggestions were obnoxious and genius.
Yeah.
She's just fed up with him.
He really is telling her how to improve stuff.
Yeah. And he starts to ease up a little bit. It becomes more playful and less asshole-ish as we go along. So Vera and Molly eat at Lilou. This is the showdown scene.
And they've been waiting for months because Lilou's wait list is
like 2 months long or something.
And they've been waiting forever to get into this restaurant without
him knowing, So, they're doing their own spy game, trying to fly under the radar. So Lilou is exactly the kind of kitchen that she once dreamed of running. But even though she should feel jealous of Killian, she has gotten to know him and he deserves his critical acclaim. She knows that he deserves this, that he didn't just get this handed to him. He worked hard. He did, all the right things and made all the right decisions. And so maybe that's a little point of regret for her because she made some wrong decisions. And I love that she owns up to that.
She does.
That she kind of allowed that to happen, in a way. Not that it really was all her fault, but what I mean?
She
just made some bad decisions.
She recognizes that if she wasn't in the position with Derek, then maybe she could have advanced her career in another way.
Right. She would already be where she had wanted to be.
Right. And I think that I really like her point of conflict because she's adamant about not dating another chef, not letting anybody else compromise her goals now.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is a realistic point of conflict with her, even though that we know that Killian's nothing like Derek, even though she knows Killian's nothing like Derek.
And she even says, he has the personality of a chef, meaning like Derek, meaning that very overly confident alpha male, in the kitchen kind of thing. But I do like that she just recognizes that. I like this part of the conflict where Rachel Higginson basically she didn't want to date a chef because the last one ruined her. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of like, I don't know if I'm getting my point across well, but she basically created the perfect conflict for Vera to stay away. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
To offer that resistance.
It is, because that's why I say that it's realistic, because it's like, if it was a stupid reason why, I shouldn't like him because I had a really bad past relationship, which I'm not knocking this, but this is like, she's like committed to herself right now. Yes. And she's like, I'm not going to let somebody else compromise that again. And she don't want to get distracted. Even if he isn't nice, I don't want to get distracted, but she can't help it. Exactly. And she wants the opposite of him.
She wants the opposite of him. Poor thing. But while they're there, of course, as we discussed earlier, Vera recognizes some of the dishes that like the sauce for her Mediterranean meatballs. It's very inspired by what she has just done.
Yes,
so she's like,
he's stealing
my sauce.
And he's like, no, it's inspired. You know that it's like a lot different.
It is a lot different
from what yours was.
But he does like sort of smile and say it was inspired from you.
And he admits. I think that I like that, because he's like, he doesn't like, no, this is
mine is totally different, but
he's like, this was definitely inspired by your meals. So whenever they're talking at the table, Ezra comes up and talks to Killian. At first he thought this is his restaurant, this is his baby, and at first he thought that there might be a problem, like any good owner. He's checking it out. But then so they introduce each other. Killian introduces Ezra to Vera, and Ezra goes, oh, so you're the chef that Killian can't stop talking about. So I love this. All these hints about like how the whenever Wyatt comes out, he's like the wait staff, now he's really gonna hate you. The staff blame you for the menu change. Yes. So everybody knows it's because of the food truck girl. Yes. So obviously Killian he's obsessed. He's obsessed. He's been talking to everybody about Vera. And so I just love all these little breadcrumbs that were fed. So awesome. But also on another note, so Ezra and Molly are talking. They're like giving Killian and Vera some time to chat. Yeah. And Ezra and Molly are clashing. They are not getting along. And I love this hint. And this is basically all we get besides one other scene in this book. But it is hinting at book 2. Which I'm going to start reading tonight, by the way. Read the next book for their story. Yeah. It's fun. So a few days later, Killian discovers the bad review that Vera left on Yelp, and he's mad. And he knows it's her and wants her to take it off. And I love it. It's Juliette's scene. It's well-deserved showdown scene. And he forces her confession by tickling her. Yes, I forgot to mention that. Cute. It's adorable. And Vera relents and removes the review. The proximity is too much. They just can't help but kiss. And it is so freaking hot. And it is only a kiss. And I think that this is whenever I know that the connection is real, whenever I feel this like, God, something monumental just happened. I feel like amazing. And it's just a kiss. And there's nothing else. I totally agree. And I love when I feel that all the butterflies and everything that build up from just the kiss. Right. It was beautifully written. So the moment's sort of ruined after he leaves because Vera discovers a message from Derek on her private Facebook page. Yes. The thing is, whenever she went to Europe, she deactivated all that shit. Yeah, and then she came back on Facebook, did a new one, and she's only on Facebook as Vera May. Vera May, right? Not her last name, no Delane. But he did find her because, stalker. Them crazy stalkers will find a way. So it's sort of a wake-up call for Vera as well, because she doesn't want to get involved with another chef, like we said, even though that she and Killian have mad chemistry. But it's not that easy to turn off her feelings and block Killian when he is trying to get to know her and boosting her confidence when she has a bad night. Like, she has a bad night where she tried to make chicken and waffles, and he's like, giving her advice, like, name all your fears, get them out there, and then let's do better. Let's rework this. Like, he is there. That would have been another awesome showdown scene. Because amazing. She has such a bad night, and he sees it, and he doesn't say anything negative or anything. He just comes inside and gets close and is like, he knows exactly what she needs at that moment. Awesome. And he is exactly what she needs. He's the man she needs, the support. It's perfect. So even whenever she jokes about quitting, like, she's not serious at all. But he tells her not to even joke about it, saying that she's too fucking good to even think about it, about quitting. God. And this is where you can get like the real contrast between Derek and Killian. Yes. Derek was always saying like, are you ready? Like, she got a job offer from this kitchen while she was with Derek, and Derek was like, but do you really think you're ready for that? Yeah. Like, and you're just going to be in the background. You're not going to get to do any, it's just like very all kind of things to put down her skills. But Killian, in contrast, is like, no, you're fucking amazing. Yeah. Like, you're on a whole nother level. Yes. You deserve so much more. Why are you even just cooking in a food truck? Like, you deserve more. Yeah. So I think think that that's really just, I love the contrast, how much he just like is supporting her dream. Like, you should have a bigger dream because you're bigger than this, you know? I just love it.
And she's not yet divulged why.
No, not yet. No.
So, but he knows, he's like, you don't belong here.
No.
You know? So, the next day or two, Killian introduces
during the week or something.
Later on during the week, Killian introduces Vera to the farmer's market that he knows about. It's kind of like a secret, you know, with all the chefs, you know, and so now he's divulging secrets to her, which is awesome. And he also introduces her to his foster mother, Jo, who runs her own farm. And so we learn that Killian had a troubled childhood, but he and Ezra both found themselves fostering at Jo's, who taught them work ethic. And it's also where Killian fell in love with cooking, because he talked about how in the foster homes, he would either get every now and then he might get a home cooked meal, or then he might get a TV dinner and a beer, you know, he was just, you know, he was a foster kid, bounced around and didn't have that, I guess, control over that good, nutritious, good food. And so this is where it all starts, you know, when he is with Jo. It's obvious that Killian is interested in pursuing a relationship with Vera in this whole market scene. And I think even the fact that he just introduced her to Jo was definitely a sign.
And divulging stuff from his past.
He's telling her all of these things, you know.
He's relationship building.
Yeah. And so he is interested in pursuing a relationship with Vera, but she puts him off, saying that she's gotten out of a bad relationship a year ago. And I love that part when he says, she's like, I hope, you know, thank you for understanding. He says, I don't understand. Yeah. But I respect your wishes, and I'm not going to chase you, you know? And that's really sad, because he does stay away for a while after that, you know?
He does. And she's like looking for him too.
I know. And she's
so
like,
sad.
I know, it's like breaking her heart a little bit. So one night, Van, her brother, has to leave early, okay, because he was helping her that night. And Vera says, it's fine. You know, I'll just get Wyatt when he's leaving Lilou to walk me to my car, because she always, you know, she's always safe.
Yeah, she's safe. You know?
Yeah. So
but
he's like,
she's just going to take care of the straggling customers.
Yeah,
and then
it's close up time.
Fine.
Yeah, it's very close to close up time, and he's got Van has a date, so he's off. This is when Derek shows up, and all we hear, she's got her head turned. We hear his voice saying, well, it's good to see that you're alive. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh my God. I had chills.
So bad. I'm glad that there were other people though, because like, even though it was such a fraught moment, like we don't want her to.
And I'm glad that there's the foodie truck between them. Like he's down outside on the floor, and the door's locked. He can't get in.
It would have been a much scarier scene if she was closing up and walking to her car by herself. I think that I would have been like,
I would have lost my shit.
Yeah. At least this was slightly better. There was customers around.
Yes. And so he does. He shows up, is sort of terrorizing her. He's mad that she left without telling him anything. You know, that she just disappeared on him. He's like, how could you have just done that to me? You know, you made me look like an asshole. You know, he's more concerned with the appearances and how it looked, that he had no idea where his girlfriend went. He's like, I had to call the cops, and like,
very telling.
Yeah. You know, it's all this manipulation. Then he lays on the guilt. Okay. And he's like, you could have, and then he sort of gets like soft. He like turns soft a little bit. He's
like a second ago he was telling her to shut up, and now
he does. He tells her to shut up. I mean, I was just like,
I was like, oh, I hate you.
He's like, you could have told me you were unhappy, Vera. You could have talked to me. I would have listened. I would have changed for you. Motherfucker, he would not have.
Liar.
I can guarantee you that right now.
Yeah, no.
But Vera is definitely a trooper and holds her ground. But he just won't leave. Like, she keeps telling him, I need you to leave. You know, you can do whatever you want with my stuff. Burn it. I don't care. Go away. Because she'd left when she left, she left a bunch of stuff back at his apartment.
Yeah, but he's like holding up the line at this point. Yeah, like customers are even like, leaving, and she's like, excuse me.
She's like, I'm running a business here. You've got to go.
And he's like, business? What business? Like, he's so condescending. It's horrible.
So thankfully, Wyatt shows up right about that time, and he can just sense it. Something's going on. Something is wrong. And he's like, hey, Vera, you need some help? She said, yes. Can you please step in the food truck right now? I need your help. And at this time, I'm like, thank God. So he comes in, and as soon as he walks in, he's like, is that guy bothering you? She's like, yes, please. And she's like, I'll take care of it. I'll get rid of him. So then he starts
to text Killian and tell him I'm going to be helping you.
Yes, because so he doesn't get in trouble.
That I'm not coming back to the kitchen, like where I'm supposed to be.
Right. So Vera sends a quick text just saying, Wyatt is helping me with something. He'll be back over in a few minutes. Well, of course.
We know.
Killian's
not just going to be like, obviously, if Wyatt's actually staying over there, something's wrong. And there's no way that Killian's not going to come investigate, even though that he and Vera kind of left off on like an unsure foot.
Yeah. So all of a sudden he's there and he's like, Hanover, what the hell are you doing here?
Whenever we know and Vera knows that they know each other, she's like, oh shit.
Yes.
Yeah. And then there's all these things going through her mind. Like, does he know what type of person Derek is? Yeah. Does he not know? Like, what does he think about him? Are they friends? Like, oh my gosh. But during the course of the conversation, there's no love lost between these people.
You can tell that they do not like each other.
Yeah, no. Basically, he threatens Derek and says he's going to call the cops. And if Derek doesn't want this negative publicity, he's like, yeah, there's going to be like, headlines on this. Like, if you don't leave now. And so he does leave because Derek is all about like the persona of like the golden boy.
Yeah.
Kind of
before shouting, this isn't over Vera.
Yeah, exactly. It's awful. So Killian tells Wyatt to help Vera close the truck and that he will be back to take Vera home.
He's like, I'll be back in 30 minutes.
Yeah, and Vera's like, no, it's fine. It's fine.
No,
he's like, no,
I will be back in 30 minutes.
He's like, hell no, I'm driving you home. So Killian has figured out that Derek is the ex, and he surprises Vera by being even more insightful and asking point blank, did he beat you?
I love how he says, did you hurt me? Did he hurt you? And she gives some sort of vague answer like, well, it didn't end well. He said, no, I don't mean like, did he hurt you? Like, emotionally, whatever.
Right.
Did he put his hands on you?
It's very insightful. Like, he knew. And he tells Vera, because she was like, how the hell did you know that? Mm-hmm. And he said that he actually had a friend that dated Derek for a little while and told Killian about some of the things that Derek did that were kind of red flags. But she got out like very early on. But so Vera does end up by opening up to Killian and telling her story about how Derek got his claws into her by promising her all kinds of things and then showing his true colors later.
After she was already sucked in.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And this is pretty big because she only told Molly things. Mm-hmm. She hasn't even told her dad the full story.
Yeah, or Van.
Like,
they really both got sugar-coated versions, although they know something bad went down.
Yes, they definitely know, but they just don't know the full thing. But she tells Killian everything. Yeah, because
he says, I want to hear everything. And so she tells him.
And this is where Killian, the way that he appreciates her and supports her dreams is amazing. Because he says, you still don't see it. You don't know how incredibly talented you are. You never needed Derek to introduce you to anyone. Your food would have done that for you. You didn't need him to validate you. You didn't need his approval. You're brilliant, Vera. So naturally talented, you put me to shame. And I'm just like, Killian, I love you. He's amazing. I love how uplifting he is to her. I do too. And she decides that she'll tell Derek. She's like, I'm going to message him. I'm going to tell him not to come near me again. And then he was like, well, what if that's not enough? Because we all know it won't be enough. And she's like, I'm going to file a restraining order against him. And he's like, good. That's the right decision. So after this whole shabam, Killian and Vera are now dating. She's like, I told him all this shit. There's just, I'm being ridiculous. I'm giving in. Yeah, this is done. It's over.
Yeah.
So a couple nights later, the tables are kind of turned when Killian gets a bad review by a food critic. Yeah. And it's going to be printed out. And it's Vera's turn to talk him up and being like, you're good. And he's like, no, he finally gets perspective and he's like, no, I am good. But he does confide that he feels stifled working for Ezra, who he does have a big influence on what type of dishes they're going to serve. Like he even tells, Killian complains to Vera, like, I'm trying to work with like tofu or something because Ezra wants to be like
the vegan demand.
And Killian's like, vegans don't want to come.
They don't want to come here,
restaurant for that. Like, you don't come to this particular restaurant expecting to be catered to, with all those kind of things. Like, you come here for a specific experience. But Ezra is a businessman and he wants to satisfy all customers. So that in turn makes Killian unsatisfied with, how he's limited. So Vera even jokes that they should start their own kitchen, and Killian says it's an excellent idea. She does not think he's serious at all. But I was like, he is fucking serious.
I knew it. Oh, I knew he was.
I was
knew
like,
it too. He's down with this.
Oh, yeah.
And that just like sparked an idea in his head. He's like, wait, this
I think that he was thinking about it before she even joked about it. I think that was something that he was like, we make a great team. We should have our restaurant. Yeah. And I think that she said it jokingly and he was like, wow, I was thinking the same thing.
I think he's been falling for her. The more and more he's been falling for her, he's just like, I need her in my life in every way, you know?
Definitely.
So a few weeks later, Ezra taps Vera. He comes and visits the food truck. I love this. He comes to visit the food truck and he's acting all like, I don't know, James Bond mysterious-ish, and is like, hey.
It's like, I will have one of those.
I know. He's like, he looks at the menu, asks her what it is, contemplates, and then is like, I'll take one. And then it's like, can I talk to you a minute? And so she goes down there. And I love how she describes how he eats, because he's all Mr. like, she always says he looks like he's had a bad day at his Armani model, you know, his Armani model job. You know, he's always like Mr. Perfect and Mr. Intimidating.
Yeah, Ezra is definitely not the same as Killian at all.
No, they're complete polar opposites in like physical appearance and whatever. But when she says she comes up there, he's already eaten half the meal. He devours it like an animal. I just thought that was such a funny contrast how he eats his food. And so he basically wants her to take the head chef position at Bianca, one of his popular restaurants. And I love that she's
this is like dream kitchen.
Yeah. And he's like, are you okay? Because she's just like frozen. She goes, I'm just processing. And he kind of smiles, you know, because he knows this is a big deal. But then she surprises him because she asks for time to think about it.
But just a smart decision. You should never make spur of the moment.
She's like, you know, I have a lot invested in this food truck. I need to think about it. I just need to think about it.
Yeah. She doesn't want to be insulting to him.
Right. She's like, I know this is a big opportunity.
Let me get back to you.
Yeah.
That's not the kind of.
That's not what she said.
She's like, I need to figure out some logistics finafinancially.
You know? Before I can just launch into it. But, and he's like, that's fine. You know, take your time. But Monday.
Yeah.
It was Friday. He's like, you have till Monday. So Killian is ticked and he has a counter offer for her. And I love that he gives the counter offer. He takes her back to his house for the first time.
I love, there's this line where Vera says like, he tempts me with the promise of fun things. But that'll have to do some unfun things first. Like talk about stuff.
Talk about,
like we're gonna have a talk
first. And she's like terrified of this talk, you know? Yeah. I love that too. That build up was adorable.
That's so cute.
So his counter offer is he wants to open his own restaurant with her where they would serve that, you know, American comfort food, you know? I love that. And there would be co-head chefs. He also says he wants to share a whole lot more than a restaurant with Vera.
Oh my God. He's just like pouring his heart out right now.
He is amazing.
He's laying it on the line. Yeah. I love it when the men are the ones who do this first.
I do too.
I don't like it whenever the woman has to do everything.
To me, I know. It just has to be, I don't know. I think you and I are just built the same way. Yeah. We just want the man to take control and those
it's parts. Okay to express your emotions like we want that.
Absolutely, you know. So she's panicking a bit and wonders what would happen if they didn't work out. She's like, you know, we'd be in this partnership. What if we ended up hating each other and all this stuff? Like she's spiraling just like I would and you would.
Right, exactly.
Give all the what ifs.
Think everything.
Yes. And Killian says that what's been between them is real and they might fight in the future, but they can fight for each other and tackle life together. I love that. He's like, it's not going to be perfect, but
my heart just wants to jump out of my chest right now.
I know. And so he tells her that he's in love with her.
I love that scene. It's beautiful.
I know.
And like Vera had already been thinking in her head that she's in love with him.
Yeah, she had been.
So, but I think that it's kind of just like, oh, he's in love with me. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was just me going this deep into this relationship.
And so Vera asks, you would really give up Lilou to risk everything with me? And he says, didn't I just tell you I loved you? I would give up a hell of a lot more to risk everything for you, Vera.
Like, that's the man that you want.
Yes.
Hell yeah. Yes. Putting her first. I just, again, contrasting with Derek. I mean, it's perfect.
I know. And, you know, it's funny because I just wanted to mention, because I thought about it when you were talking about it earlier about how that contrast between Derek and Killian. I mean, just to share a little bit about like the guy I dated after the asshat from college was Kevin, you know, and he was so polar opposite. And I even remember then I was talking to him about one day wanting to write, and when he's like, you would be amazing. And like, he was always doing that encouraging thing.
Right, exactly.
And like, you know, you could totally do that. I could see you being that, you know, and just building you up instead of tearing you down.
Right.
You know,
that's what you need in a partner.
It was just awesome. Okay. So Vera knows that she's in love with him too, and says she'll consider the co-head chef restaurant.
Yeah, she has a decision to make between Bianca and that one.
Right. No, but they did jump in bed. So
yeah.
that's not,
so
they're not thinking much about that.
beautiful.
Yes, they make
I
love
love
and
their
it's
sex
really,
scene.
yeah, it's very super sweet sex scene.
Very sweet.
Vera tells Van about her choice, her brother, and he says she should flip for it. Okay, flip a coin whether she should go with Bianca, with Ezra, or with Killian.
I wanted to, this just like, I had a scene pop in my mind. I don't know. Are you like a big fan of Friends?
Oh yeah, I used to watch it all the time.
In the later seasons, whenever Rachel thinks that she's pregnant, she took a pregnancy test, and then they're at Monica's wedding, and then they were like, well, you need to take another one to make sure. And so she doesn't want to look at it, and Phoebe has the pregnancy test, and Rachel's like, okay, tell me. And Phoebe's like, you're not pregnant. And she's like, oh. And then she's like, I'm just joking, you are. Now you know how you really feel about it. So this whole scene reminds me of it. Like, flip a coin, heads is Bianca, tails is Killian.
Yeah.
And whenever it lands on Bianca,
it's your reaction.
It's your reaction that tells you
what you want.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I love that. So it was heads for Bianca and tails for the kitchen with Killian. The coin lands on Bianca, and Vera knows how she really feels because she's instantly just like, she's
disappointed. She wants that with Killian. Yeah. So you know where
she knows what she wants.
Yeah, the decision is clear. But before she can tell Killian this, Derek shows up again at the food truck. Like we all knew that he would because he's a stalker.
Dickweed was
asshole.
coming one more time.
Exactly. So Derek shows up and she even agrees to talk with him like outside the food truck. Like Van's like, are you sure? And she's like, no, I'm sure.
Like if he
fine.
lays a finger on me, beat his ass.
Beat his fucking ass. So I like it because she's able to say her
she's
piece.
like, I need to tell him.
She was like, you think that you did nothing wrong? You really don't know why I left. You beat me. Like she was like laying it all out there.
I loved it.
But he still doesn't see anything wrong. He was like, it wasn't just me, it was you too. Like it just he's psycho.
And he never would. Those kinds of people,
kinds of men never blame themselves.
They don't.
Ever. They don't see what they've done wrong.
Nope.
So she tells him, she's like, I'm filing a restraining order against you. Like this is it. I told you what I was gonna do. You did it anyway, so now I'm doing it. Like it's happening. He gets really mad. He like gets up in her face and stuff. But before anything happens, Killian is already running across the road.
Yeah.
He's like,
and then
hey.
Van's launching. They're both like,
oh yeah, they're both ready. They're both
awesome.
absolutely ready for her. But I like how she got her piece in before she needed any backup.
And I also liked how he's like, this. She's none of your business. And he goes, no, she is my business.
Yeah, she is absolutely my fucking business.
And you better back off before I kill you.
Yeah. So Killian threatens him again.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, Vera, you're going to take out the restraining order like now, today.
Yes, they go do it together.
They're doing that. Yeah, exactly. So with the Derek threat dealt with, Vera tells Killian that she wants the restaurant with him. She's like, this is it. This is what I want.
I love that part. She goes, yes to everything. And then he's like,
because it wasn't just the restaurant. She's like, in the life.
And I love you. And so like, that's their thing. Yes to everything. And I love you.
Yeah. It's adorable. And I also kind of like, technically it's not like the epilogue or whatever, but it is the epilogue.
This was almost my showdown scene, by the way.
Oh, it's so beautiful. But anyway, side note, Vera's dad beat the cancer.
Yeah.
I love that. So
Me
that
too.
now that they can
Extra
really
happily
explore,
ever after.
Yeah, they can really explore that relationship that they missed out on because he worked so much and now he's retired and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so this is like a few months down the line and Vera's in her food truck because they're still like closing down. Like Killian has to train the new head chef, Wyatt. And Vera's handling all the rest of her foodie stuff and she's working in there until they can get all their stuff, their plans in order. So people
she's selling she's selling the food truck.
Yeah, it's like
her last
hurrah. And like people are just showing up.
Dad shows up.
Dad's there.
Then Molly shows up with champagne.
There, and she was like, damn. And then Joe's there.
And then Ezra's
there.
I love how Ezra awkwardly goes, like thought about leaving in his face. Is like, hello. Like
so she's
awkward.
like, what the hell's going on? What is going on? And then Killian's there.
And then all of a sudden Killian comes in last.
I love this scene.
It was
so
beautiful.
It is adorable. So Killian ends up by proposing to Vera in the food truck.
In the little to-go box.
It is the most adorable scene. It is perfect. And I don't need like an engagement at the end of an episode.
No, I don't either. But this was too perfect.
At the end of a book. But this happens so perfectly and it was so true to them. And
I love the way it happened in the place where it started, in the food truck. This to me is actually one of my favorite engagement proposals ever.
It shows a lot about Killian too, that he was like, he respected foodie.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like this thing that he saw as an adversary in the beginning, it was
the
like,
love of his life.
He's like, but I love you, foodie. Like we're going to get engaged in foodie.
And I love how she opens the box and her hand is shaking, and when he puts the ring on her finger, his hands are shaking. And I'm just like,
so much emotion.
It was so good.
So much emotion.
Awesome.
So that is the end of our review.
Yes.
And
oh my goodness.
Actually, I mean, Rachel Higginson, I love this series so much because the characters are so beautiful. But I still need to read the 4th book in the series, but that's on my list for this weekend.
Yeah.
I
have not I've not read anything beyond 1. For some reason I bounced from here and went to, you know how I am. I'm like a little
But for you though, at least I've been reading the series for a while now, and now that we're in like this podcast mode, it's like there's so many books that we want to read, and like by so many different authors. We're getting so many suggestions, which thank you, by the way, to all the people who are responding on my Instagram story on Mondays. I do ask for book recs, anything that you've read that you love. So there's just a lot to handle, but it's like
in a good way.
Once you reread this and it's like, oh, I love this series. I've got to finish
because I just get excited when other people are excited about a book, you know, and it's so fun because it's always just been, I felt like it's always been just like you and me and maybe a handful of our friends,
right.
but now
we have a lot of people.
Yes, it's so
a lot of people
fun.
in the conversation. It makes it so much more fun. I love having more people in with this.
Absolutely. Well, we hope that you enjoyed today's episode and look forward to the next one, where we'll be discussing Devil's Daughter by Lisa Kleypas.
Thanks so much for listening.
This goes out to all the fangirls.
Life's better with a little HEA.